Hello, I am Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz, May 30, 2015, 12:05 a.m. Birmingham. Topic, I left off where Abram confronts Nimrod, but I want to tell you first where you can find this. It's an excellent read, and I'm going to show you where probably why you've never seen it before, and if you don't know where to go look, you may not. The authentic annals of the early Hebrew, it is the real book of Jasher. And then we'll go down here. Again, the book of Jasher uncloaked. Now, this is by a William F. Dankenbring, Dankenbring. Virtually ignored since it was discovered. The book of Jasher holds virtual clues to interpreting and understanding the biblical chronology from the flood to the Exodus. A mistake made by Archbishop James Ushery, who was unfamiliar with the book of Jasher. He led to a 60-year era in placing the birth of Abraham. But this era is connected to the chronological keys providing the book of Jasher. And with these keys, an intriguing and astounding story emerges. That's what we're talking about. And without this, we had never known much at all about the Tower of Babel, except what we read in Genesis there. Other than that, we would have never known, and especially some of the things that are coming up. Well, again, I said 1 year after, or 1 year, the Tower of Babel, the earthquake got it, the fire from heaven got it, and the remaining part crumbled, but you can see the outline, which is a 3-day walk around. That computes to about 75 miles. So it's far larger than I said in the first blog I did a couple of days back. But Abram confronts Nimrod, and you got to understand the shock of Nimrod when this man comes forward and he's thinking, I thought I killed him a long time ago. And I can't get into all of that now, but I'm going to give you some of it in a nutshell. But first, I'm going to tell you that when Abram did show up, then the things, his prophecies, the things that the seers and the astrologers told Nimrod all came to pass at the time Abram comes onto the scene. Keep in mind, Nimrod said, it can't be so. He's been dead. So when Abram was 50, he left Noah's house and returned to his father's house. Terah. Now, Terah, by the way, had already forgotten God. He forgot that God was his sustainer and who God was. So Terah was responsible for building 12 monstrous wood and stone images, one for each month of the year. This is Abram's father did this. And they worshiped them, one per month. And so I'll go no more there. Let's skip on. And of course, upsetting Abram in a major way. But Abram witnessed before them, urging the king to repent. This is Nimrod, of his follies and wickedness, his idolatries, and to serve the God of the whole universe, who created thee, and whose power is to kill and keep alive. Jasher 11, verse 55 or 54 and 55. He ended his testimony saying this, O foolish, simple, and ignorant king, woe unto thee forever. All I can say, this ticked off Nimrod. His mind was blown that a mere man would say such a thing to him. I skipped the part where he thought, well, wait a minute, I killed this guy a long time ago. But let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more. Nimrod was so ticked, okay, and so full of wrath that he ordered Abram put into prison, and then asked his counselors what ought to be done with him. They counseled that Abram should be thrown alive into a flaming furnace and to be burned to death. Jasher 12, verse 6, for 3 days and 3 days and nights a mighty fire was prepared in the king's furnace, and the inhabitants of the land stood to see Abram being brought forth and brought out to be burned. Jasher estimates the crowd at 900,000. That many people came to see Abram burned alive. Nimrod wanted witnesses, guys. He may have gone overboard with witnesses, but that's not the last time we're going to hear the number 900,000 in just a few moments. So what happened? Jasher relates. And the Lord loved Abram and had compassion over him. And the Lord came down and delivered Abram from the fire, and he was not burned. But all the cords, everything that had bound him, were burned off, while Abram remained and walked about in the fire. And Abram walked in the midst of the fire for 3 days and 3 nights. And all the servants of the king saw him walking in the fire, and they came and told the king. And when the king heard their words, his heart fainted, and he would not believe them. And the king rose and went to see, and he saw Abram walking to and fro in the midst of the fire. Jasher 12, 24 through 28. And talking about coming unglued, well, one more little bit and I'll stop it. At this time, Abram was 50. Nimrod was the son of Cush. Ham begot Cush, probably around 2346 BC, 2 years this side of the flood. If Cush was 51 years of age, then he begot Nimrod. Then Nimrod would have been born around 2095 BC. Remember, he was expressly born in Cush's old age. It was a desire of Cush that God give him a son. In Jasher 7:23, and then thus he would have been 30 years younger than Terah, which is Abram's father, the chief over the host. He would have been approximately 40 years older than Abram. Keep that in mind, for later we'll see how it will correlate with another date, signpost, as we discover in the book of Jasher. And there are many date links given in the book of Jasher, which are still unavailable anywhere else, only here. But keep in mind that number 900,000. You're not going to believe what happens. Jody Wolf, Expoz.